I'm Grace Torrey, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Torrey, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today we are brain dumping / planning / beginning the process of kind of figuring out what our goals, plans, strategies, whatever the word is for 2024 is. Obviously, I do a huge master vision board for 2024 that'll be posted a little bit later. I'll probably do a podcast episode that outlines all of my goals. But usually before I do that, I just do a brain dump where I kind of figure out where I'm at, what my big long-term thoughts are on everything going on, and just kind of write it all out. But instead of doing that, I thought that I would just kind of talk to you guys about what I'm thinking for 2024, what my plans are for the podcast, what my plans are for my life, and kind of just get a vibe of how you guys are feeling and what your thoughts are, and see where your head's at, because I think it would be awesome if we all just did our big brain dump together, right? Our podcast is all about how to become the best version of yourself, and a big part of that is planning goals and things like that, and that's exactly what we're doing, and I just want you guys to be included. So if you're able to comment on the platform that you're on, definitely comment on this. I'll add a question on Spotify so that you can answer the question. I'll also post something regarding it on my Instagram so that you can be a part of the conversation. Let me know where your head's at, what your plans are for 2024, how you're feeling right now, and everything like that. So with that being said, I feel like this whole episode is kind of going to be a life update, because this is what's really been on my mind lately and what I've been thinking about. So we're just going to go ahead and jump on in. Of course, before we do, don't forget to follow on whatever platform you are currently listening on, and share this with a friend who you think would also enjoy the podcast and wants to reach their goals and become an ambitious / highly motivated girly. So let's go ahead and jump on in. I was genuinely thinking about what does 2024 look like, and kind of just really seeing how I felt energetically. That sounds kind of weird. What is my intuition saying when I think about 2024? What are the vibes I get? What are the goals I'm really thinking about? And it's funny because this year, as in 2024, feels very different compared to previous years. Most of the time when I think of a new year, I think of a new thing that I want to achieve, whether that's a new project, a new adventure, whatever it is. There's a big thing that I always want to achieve, and I always look at the new year like it is a big thing. There's going to be a big shift, a big change. I'm going to have to incorporate a lot of new things. And when I look at 2024, I just don't feel that way. I feel like this is going to be a year where a lot of the things I've already been working on come to fruition. I have really, really good vibes for 2024 in that sense. A lot of the things that I've been working really hard on are hopefully going to pay off, and I'm going to continue to progress at things that are already a part of my life instead of hitting the ground running and trying to implement all these new things. I'm almost looking at it with a much softer energy, than how I typically approach a new year. I'm still have goals. I still have new things I want to do. It's not that I'm just looking at it it's going to be fine, just keep doing what you're doing. I do have new things I want to implement, specifically around my health, what I'm eating, how I'm cooking, the schedule around it. I want to start meal prepping or find a way to enjoy it more, because I'm not a meal prep girly right now and I really need to be. But just looking at it from more of a bird's eye view of what's it gonna be, stepping back from who I am and just looking at it from a general sense and saying, what is the vibe? I don't know. I feel like what I'm saying is not making sense. Sorry, I'm having a mental day right now because I am so exhausted mentally and burnt out. So if what I'm saying doesn't make sense, I apologize. I'm going to do my best to convey how I'm feeling into words, but we're off to a rocky start right now. But I feel it's better to kind of talk about this part of brainstorming, because there's things that are going to make sense immediately, and there's things that aren't when you're looking at things and just starting the brainstorming process, and I want you to see all of that. So I will start with some things that I have already started implementing into the new year. So I got a planner. I had a planner, but girly, I was not using it. My little ADHD brain was just beep bopping around and hoping for the best, forgetting everything, not following through with to-do lists. And now I have a planner. I've started working and I feel better already. We're on day 1, but I'm hoping this one sticks. Another thing is for Christmas. This is a big thing for the podcast. Little announcement for you guys. I asked for audio equipment, like good audio equipment. We are upgrading the audio this year. Like, it is a big, big thing on my list. It's not that the audio is exactly bad right now. It's just not up to the standard that I have. So we're going to make it even better. We already implemented the tripod. I'm sure you noticed if you've been watching any of the reels or anything I posted, I have been using the tripod. How do we feel about it? Do we like it? Do we like the natural light better? I like it personally because it looks more professional, but I'm open to suggestions. If you guys feel like it's like weird or something, I want to know. Like, tell me. So that's another thing. I don't know. I feel like 2024 is gonna be a really good year. I'm turning 25, so I'm really excited about that. I want to go on like a trip for my 25th birthday we talked about. So guys, one thing I've always wanted to do is go to Coachella, and it's the week before my birthday every single year. And so we talked about going this year for my 25th birthday. I don't know if we'll go. I'm also kind of like on the fence because I do want to go, but I also want to go visit a lot of places in Palm Springs. And I don't know if I want to go during Coachella to Palm Springs because it's going to be insane. So I'm kind of like torn between like going to Coachella or like just going at a different time and going to Palm Springs. But I want to go on a trip somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe Coachella, maybe somewhere else. We're working on it. So I definitely want to do that for my 25th birthday. I'm looking at the podcast, working so hard on it. I'm convinced this year is going to be the year of the podcast. I'm putting all of my eggs in that basket because I personally just feel like it's going to be a really good year. I don't know why. I mean, obviously, like, I'm still working hard. I'm constantly innovating and coming up with new ideas and throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. I experiment a lot with the podcast, so if something changes, let me know if it's like a good thing or a bad thing, because I'm always like just kind of doing new things. Obviously the content stays the same and like the overall goal stays the same, but I market it differently. I am currently switching up the TikTok right now. So the TikTok used to be just like silly goofy things and like whatever I was feeling, and now it's becoming like slideshow tips. So definitely check that out and let me know what you think. I feel like it's something that everyone is either gonna love or hate, so let me know. I'm also using Lemonade more, which if you don't know what that is, it's a very small kind of like indie social media app. It's like Pinterest kinda, if Pinterest and Instagram were combined. So I've had a Lemonade for a while and I've scrolled on it, been a part of it for a while, but I never posted. I've started posting now. I'm just like, I feel good. Like, I almost am looking at the podcast through a new light, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready now. Like, I've been ready. Obviously, the podcast has always been, like, a big thing for me since I started it, but I just feel like a shift in energy, if that makes any sense, and I feel like 2024 is gonna be our year, guys. So, yeah, I'm really gonna be podcast heavy this year. I'm obviously, like, still working full-time, and I feel like it's going to be a year of change for my career because there's a lot of question marks in my life right now. Like, I'm set in my career. I like where I work. I'm happy, but there's just kind of a big question mark of like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And I feel like that's something that is normal for someone in their 20s, and it might not go away next year. It might still be around, but it is something that is kind of like in the forefront of my mind of like, what am I doing? What path am I going to go down? So I think that a lot of that is going to resolve itself. And that's really the only thing you can do when it comes to your career is just kind of watch it unfold. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of big moves career-wise, like in terms of things happening and whatever changes and whatever just like naturally occurring in 2024, whether it's the podcast or my job or whatever. I also don't know what we're going to be doing in terms of moving. Like, our lease ends in April. We've talked about moving. We've talked about staying. We've talked about buying a house. But if the market stays where it's at, guys, I need the market to go down. Okay, let's talk about the U.S. economy for a second. What is going on? The cost of living is going up, and my salary is staying the same, guys. It's not like every time milk goes up, they change your salary. So we're slowly just like suffocating over here in the US with our economy just a little bit. So I'm gonna need it to take a chill pill and calm down because I wanna buy a house. Josh and I wanna like pursue our future, but we can't do that if we can't even afford milk. So a lot of it's going to depend on the economy, but I do feel like the economy is going to come back down to a reasonable place in 2024, which is going to unlock a lot of possibilities for new things like moving. What else is there? I just feel like there's a lot of question marks in my life, like the house. Josh and I's relationship is obviously fine, but like the question that started coming up about like marriage and like where are we gonna live for the rest of, not for the rest of our lives, but for the next few years. Are we gonna stay in Lexington? Are we gonna leave? And I'm really excited for you guys to be around for that because I feel like you guys are gonna get some really insightful things from me going through all of this. And like if you're going through anything crazy like that, definitely share with the group because this is a learning experience for all of us, and I want to hear all the tips, girly. I want to hear all the things. But I do think there's going to be a lot of transformation in 2024. That's one of like my main words for the year is transformation because like I said, like between my career, where we're going to move, Josh and I's relationship just continuing to grow and like where are we moving, what are we doing, things like that. Not bad things at all, like at all, but just continuing to evolve as a couple. Just like what is going on, like I've been taking the dog's social media a lot more seriously. Not just the dogs, the pets in general. I don't talk about it very much. I mention it like maybe once a month on the podcast, but they do have a pretty successful social media following. So it's not something I make money off of or do anything crazy with. I just do it for fun because it brings me joy to watch them be silly and then other people think that they're being silly. I just like, it makes me happy. I don't know. So I have been doing a lot more with that, and their social media has been growing because of that. December's like the biggest year for them because we have all of their advent calendars going on, and like we're posting a lot more because we're home more on the breaks, and there's just a lot going on with them. And I really want to do more with that, and maybe not from a monetization standpoint, but from a it brings me joy standpoint, and just see where it takes us. So I'm really excited to do that in the new year. Obviously, health is a big priority, so going to the gym. If I don't go to the gym, do some sort of activity that just makes me happy. Like, I want to be a hot girl walk girly so bad, but I was born in Florida, and it is currently, literally feels like 2 degrees outside. It's not 2 degrees, but it feels like it. And you're telling me that to do a hot girl walk, I have to go out in the 2-degree weather and walk like a mile, like a half an hour of my time just walking around and freezing my butt off? I'm sorry. Like, I want to be a hot girl walk girl so bad. And in the summer, no problem. I will walk my little butt off. But when it's cold outside, absolutely not. And I'm kind of bummed because Planet Fitness doesn't have a track. Like, when I went to UK's student gym, it had a track so you could walk on the track. And sometimes I did still do the treadmill, but sometimes I did the track. And I definitely noticed, like, I don't know, I get bored easy, so I like switching it up, and I'm totally fine with walking indoors, but if I go to, like, the mall to walk around, I buy things because I have no self-discipline, so we're kind of, my hands are tied here. Like, I need to find a new way of doing something. I also really want to do yoga. I used to do yoga all the time. I used to take classes at UK. It was so important to me, but I lost it because I stopped. Obviously, I graduated. I couldn't go to the college classes anymore. And I just haven't found a good yoga studio. Honestly, yoga is kind of expensive. Like, there's a lot of things I want to do and not enough money in the world to do it. And yoga is one of those things. Like, if I had way more money, I would totally do yoga classes and stick to it and be so good at it. But I don't, let's go back to the whole not being able to afford milk thing. Like, I really don't think that yoga is in the budget right now. So I need to figure out a health plan. Everything from eating to working out. I just need to look at my health overall and make a schedule for it. And this isn't even like a diet. Like, I'm not saying I want to go on a diet and like cut all these things out and lose weight. No, I just need to have a more organized schedule of what I'm eating and when, because when I am not organized and I don't have a plan ahead of time, I end up eating like Arby's. And there's no shame in doing that at all. Like, love my Arby's, but there's also a bit of a health issue with that if you're doing it all the time. Like, it's a good treat. There's nothing wrong with having fast food every once in a while, but we love to be healthy queens, and you can't be a healthy queen if you're eating fast food every night, you know? So, yeah, health is a big thing for 2024. What am I missing? I feel like there's a big, big thing that I wanted to talk about that I'm missing. I just want to feel like me again. That sounds like kind of dramatic. Like, what do you mean, Grace? I just feel like I've really lost myself in the pursuit of trying to please everyone else. And I'm not like a huge people pleaser to the point where everything I do is seeking validation from other people. But I feel like I've spent a lot of time just doing things for the sake of other people being disappointed in me if I don't. Like, it's not like someone said, do this, and I did it because I'm a people pleaser. I do a lot of things because I don't want to disappoint people, and I feel like I would disappoint them to not do the conventional thing. And in 2024, I think I really need to prioritize me, because I don't really know who I am. And I think in 2023, I hustled a little too hard and didn't reflect enough. And I kind of lost myself along the way. So I'm not too far gone. Like, I am aware of this, and it's something I'm actively working on. I'm resting, and I'm trying to give myself time to create and innovate and find myself and be myself. But I am aware that it's an issue. So it's something I really am looking forward to. I think that turning 25 and doing all these things are going to be ways to find myself and come back to myself, because I just feel like I don't know. Like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I just feel very lost. And I was very self-assured going into 2023. I think I had a specific plan and I knew who I was. And I don't think that I was like 100% confident, but I think that I've kind of backstepped. I should have gone forward, and I'm regressing instead. So we're spending a lot of time in 2024 setting boundaries and finding ourselves and being a little bit more selfish. Is that the word? I think people are going to perceive it as selfishness if I take time to work on myself and get to know myself, but it's not selfishness. It's health. It's self-care. It's being 24 years old or 25. It's literally finding yourself. My mom told me when I was like 19 that being in your 20s or in college is the most selfish that you're ever going to be allowed to be. Because once you get married and once you have kids, or if you don't want to do that, just in general, as you get older, the more responsibilities you have, the less selfish you are able to be. And when you're this early in the game, like when you're this young, you need to be selfish so that you understand what you want and you don't end up in a career or a life path that you don't want. And you don't want to realize super late, like, this is not what I wanted. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. It's never too late to change your path. But I think that the earlier you can realize it, the better. And so my mom always told me that during that time, to be selfish, to be more selfish, to think about me and what I want more, to focus on myself more, because you're never going to be able to do it again. Like, I mean, maybe eventually one day after the kids go off and maybe you're retired so you don't have to worry about it as much, you can be selfish. But even then, like, if you have grandkids or things like that, like, you just will never be as free as you are in your 20s to explore, do what you want, and find yourself. So that is what 2024 is going to be all about. It's going to be about transformation and finding myself. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the podcast. I'm excited for myself and like who I'm going to become, because I feel like the more I work on myself, the better the podcast becomes, because I'm able to give you more insight and tips and experiences and how I learned from them and what I think you can get out of it. And I think that when I am clear-headed and understanding of what I have in store for myself, like what my beliefs are on who I am and where I'm going, then I think I can paint a clearer picture for you of what being in your 20s is and like how to grow and how to reach goals and things like that. So I think it's gonna be a really good year overall. I'm really excited. I think this is really it for the episode. We'll definitely probably end up doing like a 2024 episode all about my official goals, and we'll just dive into that. But this was the brain dumping session. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you were able to reflect and think about what your own thoughts and plans are for 2024. And I hope that you enjoyed. If you haven't already, don't forget to follow. Don't forget to leave a rating or review or a like or subscribe. Whatever the equivalent is on the platform you're on, it would mean the absolute world to me if you took a couple seconds to let me know you enjoyed this. I upload every single Wednesday and Sunday. If you're watching this on the Wednesday it comes out, I hope you have a great night. If you're watching this on any other day, I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next podcast episode. Bye, guys.